I've been talking about it for quite a while, but the depth of games available on PlayStation VR has exponentially increased over the last few years. You've got great games across a plethora of genres and franchises, and now enter The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Now, yes, we've had Walking Dead games before. We've had good Walking Dead games before at that, and the most standout one is obviously going to be Telltale The Walking Dead series, but that game was very much narrative focused. It had a great narrative, but it was light on the gameplay. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is a totally different kind of experience that is going to be engaging whether you're a fan of Walking Dead or not. If you're a fan of Walking Dead, fantastic. Doubly so, are you going to enjoy this game and are you going to be engaged to this title? But it does offer a brand new story that is compelling in its own right, but obviously that VR layer to The Walking Dead being added with Saints and Sinners makes this game so incredibly engaging. Just think about it for a second. Transport yourself to the world of The Walking Dead in VR, and that is going to be a thrill ride of an experience. And I have to say right off the top, the Saints and Sinners game has immediately gripped you and absorbs you into this world and invokes that element of horror that I think for a game like The Walking Dead, you need emotion, you need horror. VR exemplifies that, and everything comes together in The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners that makes it an incredibly engrossing and atmospheric experience. And I think that is one word that is always related to The Walking Dead and can always be connected to The Walking Dead, and that is atmospheric. You need this game to absorb you into the world of Walking Dead, and Skydance Interactive has done an incredible job in doing that, but also offering compelling gameplay as another layer to the title. Now, what is Saints and Sinners? Well, Saints and Sinners is noted to be a game unlike any other in the Walking Dead universe. Every challenge you face and every decision you make is driven by you. Fight the undead, scavenge through the flooded ruins of New Orleans, and face gut-wrenching choices for you and the other survivors. Live The Walking Dead. And I think that terminology of Live The Walking Dead is so true, more so than any other Walking Dead title, that's relevant here in The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Now, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners does have a new story. It has been years since the outbreak. The once great city of New Orleans is now submerged in flood water, surrounded by unending herds of walkers and torn apart by warfare between the remaining survivors. Explore an expansive world as you fight your way through humans and walkers, scavenge weapons and supplies, make brutal moral choices, and uncover a mystery that will determine the future for everyone left alive in NOLA. Now, obviously, with those moral decisions, that inherently makes the game very replayable. And again, in VR, I feel the idea of morality and things of that nature really does resonate even more so, as long as the VR element is implemented well, and I do have to say that it's implemented fairly well here in Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Now, there's a couple elements you have to be aware about in The Walking Dead, and those are the things you're going to encounter. Well, obviously, there's the dead. Walkers define the Walking Dead world, and Saints and Sinners VR puts you right alongside them. If you're not ready, just one of the undead can end you with one good bite. Train yourself to face the herds, walk among the dead, or end them all. But the herd is not the only thing that you're going to have to fight against. The zombies is not the only threat here. The living also offers as a big threat, maybe just as big, if not bigger. The living are more dangerous than the dead, but you've got several ways to deal with them. Help those in need or take what you need by force. Work around gangs and try to stay off their radar, or risk it all to fight against them. You decide who lives, who dies, and who turns. Once again, there's an incredible amount of decision making in this game, and decision making is great in any game where morals are such a big element to The Walking Dead and its narrative in the TV show and any other franchise that is spun off of The Walking Dead. Adding that in a VR game as well makes these decision-making elements so much more engaging, and also adds a layer of replayability to a game, and that's why I've always loved decision-making being an element in games. Don't force decision-making onto a game, but if it does add a layer to the story, a complexity level to the story, then it does offer a great form of replayability. And outside of the dead, the living, you also have to ascertain for one other major thing, and that is you. You decide the kind of person you want to be as you make your way through New Orleans. Who you decide to help and hurt, and just how you decide to do it matters. In the end, it'll be your actions that decide if you're really a saint or a sinner, so you understand where the title is coming from, really deriving from those morality decisions that you're going to be making throughout the game, and what you do and how you interact with the world itself. But the decision-making extends just behind arbitrary choices that you're going to make. You're going to be able to survive your way as well. It's a new way to live survival horror, violence, disease, and famine as constant threats that you must learn to cleverly navigate. Will you sneak around the ruined streets and mansions, scavenging all you can? Will you risk life and limb to protect those in need? Or will you gun down anyone who stands in your way and become known for your brutality among the survivors? The choice is ultimately going to be left up to you. A couple of different gameplay elements that are going to craft the experience. You've got scavenging. One man's trash is another man's treasure, and for the keen-eyed survivalist, there is plenty of treasure to go around, from the obvious gear like weapons and food to bottles, toys and egg timers. No item is without use or utility. Be creative, be vigilant, and always come home with a new haul. Crafting is also a major element to the title. Those who do not have must make. Anything you can fit in your backpack can be broken down into its base components to build even greater tools later on. Gather recipes to make weapons, ammo, and other supplies for the long journey ahead of you, and to battle everything that you're going to encounter and help you along the way. And also embrace freedom. Whatever works, it's always up to you to decide how to make it through each day. Fighting the walkers and bandits you encounter and taking what you want is always an option, but it's also the most lethal one, and maybe you want to go a different way. Maybe you'll use stealth tactics to get the drop on your enemies, or even hide among the dead by disguising yourself as them. Maybe a combination of everything is in order. At the end of the day, you're gonna have to do whatever it takes to survive in a brutality-filled world. And again, that world is layered with a brand new story. New Orleans is at war. The living are not just fighting the dead, but also inflicting pain and brutality upon each other. As bodies pile up between warring factions, whispers spread of a long-lost mystery in the city that could turn the tide of the war. Will you be able to survive while caught in the middle of this conflict? Can you unravel the mystery that is behind it all? The fate of the city and its survivors rests in your hands. New Orleans is a big city as well. The big easy as anything, but nowadays it's filled with zombies, filled with brutality, with no one to care for it. Flooding has spilt New Orleans into a series of concrete islands and walker-infested waves. From the Garden District to the Baywater, explore over 9 different neighborhoods and learn about the city's fall and the lives lost along the way as you fight for what's left. You've got a variety of factions as well. Two forces clash for the fate of New Orleans: the Tower, commanded by the authoritarian Mama, and the Reclaimed, led by the charismatic John Baptist. The Tower seeks total loyalty and a city under the rule of law. Their law, the Reclaimed seek to live in a new world free of the rules of the past. They also practice ritualistic revenge on their path to justice. One promises safety and control, and the other promises freedom. Both have a price to pay. The characters as well, you're not going to be alone on this journey, and the people you meet along the way will have just as much of an influence on you as you will have on them. It's hard to build trust in a world that is like this. However, survival is best achieved with allies. Will you keep your friends close throughout your journey, or find the perfect moment to stab them in the back? That is going to be a decision for you to make. And again, the VR layer to the game and what you do in the game is amplified greatly, and that level of immersion is definitely accentuated with Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Interaction Saints and Sinners takes physicality and motion into account with all your actions. Surrounded by walkers with no weapons on hand, grab a bottle off a table and use it as a makeshift shiv. Offer food to a starving survivor and they'll happily take it off your hands. Point a gun and they'll step back in terror or get ready to fight back. A level of immersion unlike any other. Combat, every bullet slams with a satisfying pop. Every weapon slam is followed by a crunch that you don't just hear but feel as well. The Walking Dead experience seeks to bring you genuine momentum to every attack you make, turning every encounter into not just a clever planning but a physical effort to overcome your enemies. And then traversal as well. There's gonna be a level of exploration into the game. There's gonna be a level of platforming as well. Getting from point A to point B is not always as simple as it sounds. Environments in Saints and Sinners are designed so that vertical movement can be just as viable as horizontal movement. Crawl under buildings to hide just under the noise of the walkers. Make a quick escape by leaping over a wall or getting on top of an abandoned car. Climb up buildings to escape the dead and get into new locations. Just don't forget to mind the fall. Now, this is again adding to that level of replayability and difference making in the gameplay. There's going to be a lot of different options with traversal as well, and how you want to tackle your game plan and your objectives at the time. And hey, one decision might be better than the other, but something is going to offer a different gameplay style as well. And again, I do want to add to the fact that this is a game that, while Walking Dead fans are going to find an added level of enjoyment because you're already sold on the world, hey, games like this with these zombie-infested worlds, we've seen them before, and they're still as enjoyable. What you need is compelling gameplay, a level of immersion, and enjoyable content and characters. And I feel like Walking Dead Saints and Sinners has that, and then some, with also moral-based choices and different choices within the gameplay environment. I do want to close off this video that Walking Dead Saints and Sinners adds to the level of depth to the PlayStation VR titles. There are so many great games, and Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is one of the great ones. However, there are so many other great ones that I know that PlayStation VR is a tough sell right now, but if you look at the game lineup, there's a variety of titles, and Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is another pretty good one. I do also want to note that this is a sponsored video. However, I felt relatively strongly about this game, so I did want to give them the credit they deserve, and I feel strongly about VR as a platform, and it's a platform that I feel like deserves a lot of love. It's done relatively well, but there's a lot of PlayStation 4s out there in the wild and not nearly as many as VR headsets, and I do feel like with the addition of Saints and Sinners, the platform just got a little bit more compelling. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.